But as soon as we walked in the door, we discovered that the phone was ringing off the hook. The phone was just ringing and ringing with UUs from all over the country wanting to come down and help. And they looked at churches, and they figured out that we were the closest one to the Katrina damage. And so they wanted us to tell them what they could send, when they could come, where they would stay, and some of them just told us they were coming, and then they were here.
As we started to do the work with Unitarian Universalists coming down to the area, it became apparent that part of what was needed for everyone was an orientation that really took seriously dynamics of race and class in Louisiana and Mississippi, both before, during, and after Katrina. One of our organizers said, "I've been working on issues related to Hurricane Katrina for 12 years now, and this was a year after the hurricane." What he meant was a lot of the issues didn't change from the hurricane. They just had a hurricane on top of the already very fragile fault lines in the communities.
What turns our eyes away from our own neighbor, when from their labor they find no reward? What do our hearts say when they cry mercy, when they beg shelter from the storm, when they beg shelter from the storm? I have a vision of all the children finding their mission in the great design. Together we're building, so then we live in the circle of giving in their time. The circle of giving in their time.
One of the things that I have had to work through in the course of my return, and this is it was a soul-defining moment, was there were a part of me that felt it's unfair that the Ninth Ward gets all the attention. What about Lakeview? What about those of us here? And I realized, of course, that part of it was that privilege allows those of us who live in Lakeview to rebuild and to have had, in many cases, better homes, although there was a home just a couple of blocks away that ended up in the middle of the street, and many that have been taken down. But the devastation was greater in the Ninth Ward than what happened here in Lakeview. So I had to work through that as part of defining who I was and part of who our community was, because if it affected me, it was also affecting everybody in my church who had to look at that too. And it just took some time for us to do that. That was important because we needed to realize, and I think we have realized, that the lack of human rights affected some of us more than it affected others of us.
People say you have to take care of your own. And, this was a really hard point for UUs who were from devastated communities, because that's easy to say, but when you really start to look it over, well, what do you mean when you say your own? Who is your own? And what you answer to that question is going to be the measure of your commitment to the human family. Is it a human family, or is it your church family? What do you mean your own? And I think that we learned it was a lot harder to discern those things than we believed it would be. It was hard, it was painful, and there were some broken relationships. And I think there's a lot of recovery in that. But there was a sense of betrayal. But it was painful to see the people I love going through that, and it was painful to see them not recognize that the larger community is part of your own, and in fact might even be in more pain than you are.